everyone, we're calling a bit of a state of the metal union right now because we're gonna lose one of the greatest metal bands ever, Slayer.
Their career has met the axe.
Yes, but they're going out in style. We're on Facebook Live right now, obviously, because you're watching us on Facebook Live. So we're gonna be discussing Slayer's impending death with you. We're gonna be talking about how we feel about it. Joe, how did you feel when you heard the news this morning?
Tremendous, Graham. No, just like everybody, it sucks. It's like we've lost Black Sabbath, we've lost Motley Crue, we've lost Rush, who just announced that they were done recently, late last week.
Yeah, that was...
yeah, I mean...
But we all saw that one coming. We already knew that they were pretty much finished. I don't think that was a surprise to anybody. This one kind of lifted me off my chair this morning.
I was surprised. I mean, I think we kind of felt like this one was coming a little bit too, with the death of Jeff Hanneman, and not really sure what the kind of state of Slayer is internally. You know, Gary Holt's been holding it down for a long time now, but moving forward a little bit more in the future. Tom doesn't like touring, so it wasn't an entire total shock, but it's not an easy thing to get an email about and see that Slayer are announcing a farewell tour. I don't think I expected it to come this soon.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, wow, lots of comments already. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I've seen Slayer a bunch of times, and I'm not sick of seeing them yet.
No, we saw them at Chicago Open Air. They were awesome there.
Excellent. Those fire pits were crazy.
Yeah, and then saw them on the Slayer Lamb of God Behemoth tour last year. That was sick. And
hi, everybody.
Hi. But Tom still sounds great. I think he sounds better now than he did maybe 5-6 years ago. And
I agree totally.
There's a lot of energy. I think Gary Holt brought a new energy to that band after Jeff Hanneman
Gary Holt. I can't say enough about him. Talk about a guy, the perfect dude to replace Jeff Hanneman, and a guy who really flew the flag for them and held down Jeff's guitar, and who's one of the meanest, most aggressive players on the planet. I mean, he's just a phenomenal guitarist.
He doesn't even have to look at the thing when he plays. Like, he can solo and not even look at the fretboard. He actually, like, you watch him solo, and a lot of times he just turns his head the other way. It's like the most subtle, awesome brag.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of... Chris Heading says, I grew up on Slayer. I'm totally going to miss them. Jason says they're getting old, man. Plus, there's been a lot of drama in the last few years. Well, but, you know, there's a point there because how long... I mean, think about this for a second. I think people don't really think about this. Slayer have been a band for almost as long as Motorhead was a band for. Almost 40 years.
I feel like when we think of thrash, we kind of think of like 1986, really, as kind of the real starting point with Master of Puppets and Rain and Blood. That's where it really took off. So I feel like we always perceive thrash to be a little younger than it actually is, even if it is by, 3 years or so. Like, Slayer's debut came out in '83 with Show No Mercy, but I think we still think of Slayer as a younger band. I
guess so, but as Matt Rudd says, Gary Holt was writing songs. I mean, yeah, he was writing riffs. I mean, when I interviewed Tom Araya at Chicago Open Air last summer, he was telling me that Gary was like kind of bugging him like a little kid, like, hey, listen to this riff I wrote. So. Who knows if we're ever going to hear those Gary Holt riffs? Maybe he's going to bring them to Exodus. Would you?
But I feel like he's writing separately for Exodus and Slayer. He has to be, because they're two totally stylistically different bands. And I feel like after playing in Slayer for maybe 5 years now, he really is. It's like that's in his DNA now, as far as the guitar playing goes, and he has the ability to discern what makes a good Slayer riff versus a good Exodus riff.
Well, and also we don't really know if. Like, maybe Slayer will make a new record. Maybe they'll continue as a studio band. Maybe they just don't want to tour anymore. I mean, Tom, he told me, I think it was breaking news, that he had sleep apnea. It was really, really hard for him to sleep on the bus. And he was getting like 3-4 hours of sleep per night.
He's essentially just taking a series of small naps and calling it sleep.
Yeah, and he's just, he's just a tired guy. He's a grandfather now. And he wants to, stay at home, enjoy the fruits of his labor, and spend some time with his family. And he was saying that he doesn't want to miss the things with his grandchildren that he missed with his kids. And you got to feel
like
for
seeing
the
them
guy.
take their first steps, or there's so many firsts in those formative years that you miss. So to be able to, when your time has come and you're at the end and you reflect on your life, do you want to go, yeah, I toured the world and that was it? Or I toured the world and I got to watch all these other incredible things happen in my life too. And it definitely seems like he's ready to watch those other things in his life.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as a farewell tour, Lamb of God, Anthrax, Behemoth,
and
Testament.
Oh. That's about as, if you can't have the big four, that's pretty much the tour that you want to see, right?
I would see that over the big four any day. I'm sorry, any super Metallica fans out there. This is such a killer tour. I mean,
I'd agree with you.
Serious evil on this tour, which I love. And a lot of people they're talking about, Slayer maybe shouldn't have gone on without Jeff. I'm glad that they did go on without Jeff, frankly.
There would have been so many questions about finality, and it always just sucks to see a band end when a member dies. And there's always going to be that tumultuous point of carrying on, and is it going to taint the legacy, or are they going to do it with respect? And Slayer did the unpopular thing and decided to move forward. And I don't know, have you heard anybody complaining that Gary Holt's in the band? I haven't.
I would not want to meet that person. I'd be confused as hell. Of course, everyone wants to see Hanneman up there, but not gonna happen, guy. I don't want to see a Hanneman hologram.
Oh God, no.
A lot of people are saying let's talk about Dave Lombardo. Yeah, that's talk about more big shoes to fill. But Paul Bostaph is a monster. I mean, nobody can play the drums quite like Dave Lombardo. Nobody hits that snare with more vicious, malevolent intent than Dave Lombardo. And I mean, that double kick, flawless. I miss hearing him play that double kick.
And his drumming is just all feel. And feel, no matter how much you could replicate every single strike on the drum, it just won't be the same because it's not that guy playing it. He's just got so much finesse. But like you said, Bostaff's done an incredible job. I'd like to see Lombardo do something with Slayer on this tour, so we don't have another Black Sabbath Bill Ward situation.
A lot of people are saying Dave Lombardo for the final tour. I mean, that would be, I would love to see that, but it seems like it probably won't happen. A lot of crying faces I'm seeing splatter across the screen, but
I don't think Slayer want your tears.
No, they don't want your tears. So. They're gonna retire fat and happy, not dissing their personal appearances, but they're going to retire happy. I mean, they've made a good chunk of change. They're legends. I mean, they don't have to work another day in their lives after this tour. I mean, they're going to be playing arenas on this thing. This is going to be an arena tour. I don't see how it's not an
arena tour.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to be playing clubs on this, but a lot of people are saying this is a sad day. Saw him multiple times with Jeff, and honestly was blown away how tight they are with Gary, and they are just tighter and more locked in with Paul. Paul's really good, man. Raining tears, Alex says. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, I know we wanted to talk about this. I remember the day that Hanneman passed away, and I remember the moment. You're gonna want to hear this. I remember the moment of getting not a press release, but just an email from.
This is the forewarning, right?
This was the official word that Hanneman had died, and we got a warning before then. A couple hours earlier. Stay tuned. Big news coming from the Slayer camp. And
what did you think it was going to be?
No clue. We didn't think that it was. We thought that it was probably going to be Hanneman is no longer in the band because he had necrotizing fasciitis on his arm because of a spider bite. He was having issues.
Skin grafts.
He was having issues with his liver and stuff. We thought that maybe he was just no longer going to be in the band and this was going to be the official word. But a few hours later, we got the email that Jeff Hanneman had died. And I mean, nobody saw that one coming from, on this side of our industry. There wasn't word or anything like that. We just all received the same email, just a very short email. Jeff Hanneman has passed away. And I remember just putting my head in my hands and being so unhappy and like just so sad that Jeff could never really get back to the stage. I mean, there was a few years where he was trying to get back onto the stage and
he made that one appearance.
And but he just never really got back to it, and that just made me so sad. But then also just the duty of breaking that horrible news to everybody.
You one have of like the downfalls of this job.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great job. We can't complain, but we have a responsibility to give you the worst news about your heroes when it happens, and it never gets any easier. And Jeff was one of the worst days of my career because I loved that guy. I mean, what a riff master.
What are people saying about Jeff?
People are saying it was a really bad day. The best love song ever, Dead Skin Mask. I'll take that. When Jeff Hanneman passed away, I was so devastated, says Jesse Morgan. Thank you, Slayer. Clap, 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 says Josh Bernie Bernstein. Yeah, guys, I mean, it's kind of a rough day. Who mentioned Slipknot here, guys? Slayer, what we're talking about. Why are you talking about Slipknot, people? Slipknot are going to be just fine. So, yeah, it's a rough day today. Slayer calling it quits. But as, you know what, I'm as shocked as I was, I'm actually really happy for them. I think...
I'm definitely happy for Tom.
I'm happy for Tom.
Because we know that he's been dying to get on. He loves that time on stage. He loves playing shows. He just hates touring. And you could see the way that he talks about it. He's just not into the road lifestyle anymore. And traveling the world definitely has to be awesome. But I imagine when you see the same venues and the same places over and over, it becomes it becomes a little normal.
Right. It's work. You know, they've done everything. I mean, that's the thing. Once you've been to the top of the mountain that Slayer have, I mean, Slayer's not going to get any bigger than they are right now, you know. I mean, you can't get bigger in the metal world unless you're Metallica, and Slayer are not going to write a Black album anytime soon. No. So, I mean, how long can you toe the line for? Especially when you're just not into the touring lifestyle. You know, don't get us wrong, Tom Araya loves playing. He gushes about how much he enjoys playing.
That's why he goes through the misery of being on the road.
But he's
for
also
all
had
of us.
neck surgery, and he's like, you know, I'm happy for him that, as he told me, he's gonna finally get to receive his pension. You know, he said the hardest and fastest of the big four deserves their finale, 100%. So a lot of people saying they don't think that they're actually going to quit. And no, we're not acting like this is the end of the world. This is just a state of the metal union, guy.
Graham, when was the first time you heard Slayer?
First time I heard Slayer? Yeah. I don't even know. I don't remember a time where I just wasn't familiar with the vicious speed of this band. I mean, I didn't get into them until I was a teenager, but I mean, I just always knew that Slayer was Slayer. How about you?
I think it's on like one of those like countdown shows where, like, I don't even. It could be anything, but I remember hearing the riff to Rain and Blood.
Oh yeah, immediately.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first knowingly that was the first Slayer I'd ever heard. Mm. But I remember 666, the Slayer Day, June 6, 2006.
Sure, yeah,
I remember getting home from school and all my friends wanted to hang out and they all showed up at my house. This was before we had cars. They're all on bikes in my driveway screaming, and I couldn't hear them because I just put on Slayer all day. I was like, it's Slayer Day. Like, I can't hang out with you guys. Like, I have to listen to Slayer. Like, I don't understand why you can't. I don't understand why you don't understand that.
Why can't you support me?
Yeah, and I didn't even have like a good speaker to listen to, so I would actually plug my was it my iPod or a computer or something into my little like bedroom amp that was like that big and listen to the music through there and adjust like all the tones and stuff.
Sure.
But I remember celebrating Slayer Day.
Yeah. Do you guys want to see any of the members of Slayer in other bands? I mean, except for Exodus, obviously, we want them to keep going. We want to see Gary Holt still play. Paul Bostaff, I could see him being in some other bands. But like Kerry King, I mean, Tom Araya is not going to do anything. He's going to just sit back and be happy.
I think that's a safe bet.
As he should be. And Kerry, I mean, can you even imagine Kerry King being in any other band?
In Slayer.
He was in Megadeth for like 3 days, but that was back in the 80s.
Yeah. I can't imagine seeing Kerry King in anything. Really,
Yeah.
it's.
Scott
I mean,
Walsh.
it could definitely happen.
First time I ever heard Slayer, 9th grade, 1984. I heard the opening riff for Haunting the Chapel. After that, it was game over. Well done. That's a good one, man. My first song is Angel of Death, says Andrew Warren. That's probably mine, too, I think. When I heard that scream, I was just like, dude, what the hell is that? Carrie Goes to Pantera.
Ooh.
No. He cannot. Come on. Completely different guitar players.
He is.
I mean, does Carrie... I mean, Slayer tried to kind of go groove in the 90s. It didn't work. Do you really want to see Kerry King doing the most groove-heavy, like, punishing,
I mean, he would be playing the better riffs if he was in Pantera. So.
Oh, I'll argue with you on that one. But you know what? It's kind of a rough day for everyone because it feels like our world is getting smaller while, the rap world and the pop world just kind of stays the same or gets bigger. There are some great metal bands that are coming out still. I mean, Ghost, I'm a big fan of.
Power Trip, Code Orange.
But these are bands, I just don't feel like there's going to be like another renaissance of metal. At least not something on the level of Slayer that's ever going to happen again. And we're just losing these arena bands, man. We lost Black Sabbath. Oh, I mean, I'm a big Him fan. We just lost Him. We just lost the Dillinger Escape Plan, obviously not arena bands.
And we have, all the ones that have died. We've got Typo Negative, not an arena band, but an incredibly creative band. Of course, Ronnie's no longer with us.
A lot of people are saying no Kerry King and Pantera. I'm glad you people have some sense out there. That would be weird, dude. I first heard Raining Blood on South Park. 72 fellows.
I remember that episode.
That was great.
So that one was where Cartman, they couldn't get rid of the hippies. And there was a giant hippie fest, and they had the drill.
Through them
and he's like, I'm going to play Slayer. Hippies hate death metal.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm fine with South Park calling Slayer death metal. It's better than The Simpsons calling Judas Priest. What they called them death metal, right?
David Dill says, can this winter get any more depressing? We'll just see who overdoses on opiates next. Jesus.
It has been
brutal, dude. Seasons in the Abyss. That's my favorite, too, Gary. Not Gary Holt, but Gary Tackett. I'm sure he knows how to play a mean guitar, too. Carry back to Megadeth.
No.
The clash of personalities would be way too...
And I think just the stylistic hallmarks of their playing are so radically different at this point.
Yeah.
It would have worked because that was... What year was that? It was
80s.
like 1984.
It was long. Dude, it was forever ago.
I think was it between Show No Mercy and Hell Awaits though?
Oh, I don't even
Someone
remember.
please
But I remember
that.
Kerry King saying, I can't understand how anyone's in a band with Mustaine. I remember him saying that. So I don't think Kerry King will be going.
Well, Dirk and Kiko are holding it down right now.
They're great.
Oh, those guys rule.
Apparently
So,
Tom likes to sing country. I'd buy a Tom Araya country album.
I
Really?
would not.
I'm sure you bought the David Vincent country album, didn't you?
I don't think that one's fully out yet.
Oh God, I hope that.
I hope
never
it doesn't
comes
come out.
That's Pantera needs a dime, not Carrie. Definitely.
Yeah, well.
So
Do you have
I
a
mean,
chicken and a blood sacrifice ready to try to bring him back? I don't.
Well, Megadeth has evolved in different ways, more melodic now, in my opinion, and Kiko is such a good fit. I agree.
Yeah,
with
and
you.
Carrie's got that just all over the place soloing, and I don't think it would really jive with Megadeth.
No, definitely not.
Though I'm down to hear more dive bombs anywhere, though.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I'm fine with a good dive bomb. Norbert Namath says I can't stop listening to Black Magic now. Nor should you. That's a fantastic song. It's one
Why
of the,
now?
That's like
Why
the
not
first great Slayer riff. Combat Tour was sick. Kerry King and Nickelback would be a good idea. You know what? I agree.
Yeah, I'd support that. Let's see what happens there.
I would like to see that.
It can't get worse, right?
Yeah. Well, guys.
Sorry, obligatory Nickelback joke. I mean, we wouldn't be doing our part if there was no Nickelback joke, right? All right, got that.
Rain
one
and
in.
Blood is the best album in metal history. It proves that less is more because listening to all 29 minutes leaves you concussed and bleeding in a corner. Jesse Morgan.
I've had a concussion. It's not fun. I don't want that. That's not a.
Now when I
not a good
scream
listening
Slayer,
experience.
they won't be there. They will be there in your heart. Goodbye. Okay, we should say goodbye properly. This is a rough one, but everybody, like Black Sabbath, we're all going to go. We're all going to see it. It's going to be a killer show with amazing bands, and we are going to go out screaming Slayer, maybe with a little metal tear coming down for the last time. Yeah, that'll be a rough day, but we'll be all right. And we will see you all at the shows. And Tom, if you're watching, or if any of your people are watching, let me interview you again. You're like my favorite person to interview. You're heavy metal Santa Claus. I want to squeeze you and pull your beard. Thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Go blast some Slayer, everyone. Joe, will you do the honors?
Slayer! That was kind of bad. One more? Together?
Yeah, you can do it.
Slayer! One warm-up's always good.